Welcome back to Mini Motley Sanctuary, and it's the start of autumn. It's been very stormy with misty mornings and losing the light in the evenings. There's been a real shift in the atmosphere. The animals love to sleep and snooze in the mornings, we've noticed, which is the most peaceful time at the sanctuary, just as the sun begins to rise. Some of the trees are still green, but some have shifted to reds, oranges and yellows.
We're a sanctuary for a motley group of animals who've all had difficult, traumatic starts to their lives, and they come to us to find a forever home. And we're a mother and daughter team working together every day with our animal friends. We're trying to put all our hay into hay nets at the moment because in the UK there is a real severe shortage of hay supplies, so we're trying not to waste any, and it's better to put it in the hay nets, otherwise if it goes on the ground some of it inevitably gets wasted.
If it's on the ground, although they'll love shuffling and snuffling their noses through the hay to pick out flowers, they will always end up laying in it or digging it or stamping it into the mud, so it does get wet and lost into the ground.
And even the sheep really love a hay net.
It's at this time of year that mushrooms start springing up across the sanctuary, and we spot them in the fields, popping up in our muck heaps and even in piles of poo as well. And it's fascinating to learn that actually some mushrooms only grow in horse manure, and it's because they are so nutrient rich. They provide the perfect conditions for mushrooms to sprout. So you see them all over the sanctuary scape where the sheep and horses poo. They have their favourite spots in the field, of course, and in the muck heap, and wherever we might have left a patch of poo or two, because we do lots and lots of poo picking at the sanctuary. It's such a lovely thing to spot, not only because it's a classic sign that autumn has arrived and the seasons are shifting, but also because nature is working hand in hand with the horses and the sheep, the circle of life, in that their poo goes into the ground and up pops a beautiful, very artistic looking mushroom. It's a bit like I Spy as we're poo picking. It keeps us entertained, spotting mushrooms and plants and flowers and things that are sprouting around the sanctuary whilst we shovel the manure.
Yeah. So the saying that you can't polish a turd is actually not true at all. If you're a mushroom, you can add a lot of enhancements.
And we share all aspects of sanctuary life with you. One of the biggest jobs that has to be done every single week is poo picking at the sanctuary, which is hard graft and very heavy work. These blue sacks are what we use to pick up the poo, load them in, and we remove 13 sacks every weekend from the wider fields, and every day we remove sacks worth of manure from the miniature pens, which are away from the luscious grass because they have laminitis or they're prone to laminitis, so they cannot eat the lush grass. So every day we are bagging up pounds of poo, sacks of manure to remove it from the paddocks, the fields and the miniature pens.
Then Anna and I lug the bags of poo to the end of the drive, just to the side of the road, where we have our little trading post, and we stack them all up, and then we've got an honesty box where people do actually leave us some money sometimes for the sacks of poo that they take. And the other day when we were there, we actually met a very satisfied customer who told us that we were his favourite manure suppliers and that he's won several prizes for his vegetables from our manure supply. And we were thinking about it, and we actually decided that was probably partly because of all the supplements that we give to our horses, all the natural supplements that probably make it even richer and more nutritious for the vegetables to grow. But anyway, so that's one accolade that we're extremely proud of. We're the favourite manure suppliers of the area, and we do get little bits of money coming through, which then we put in a pot and goes back into buying more supplements in order to feed them, and then they poo it out, and so the cycle goes on, and boy do horses produce some poo. I can't remember what the stats were, Anna, can you?
Each horse does between 6 and 16 poos a day. So multiply that, and that's a hell of a lot of manure. And for some, like local gardeners, it's absolute treasure who want to pop it on their plants, on their compost heaps, and add nutrients into their soil and help their fruits and vegetables grow, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And before anyone thinks we're making a killing selling poo, we get between 20p and £1 for every bag, and sometimes they run off with the whole pile, the whole mountain heap of manure, and don't pay us a penny.
The swines.
And Mum likes to rage.
I do.
It's been a really stormy start to the autumn, with lots of high winds, torrential rain, biblical downpours, where there are huge great puddles, we're wading in water and having to try and keep the animals as warm as possible with lots of hay nets and haylage and dinners of chaff. And what seems to be so shocking and dramatic this year and in recent years is that we've sort of lost those days where we might get the odd bit of spitting rain or light rain that then sort of disappears, and we'll have weeks on end that are dry and sunny, and then suddenly great downpours that appear to come out of nowhere, and the ground is so hard that then it's at saturation point, it doesn't absorb the water, and we have great pools just sitting there, and we will end up wading through, obviously making our tasks a lot more difficult. It's really challenging to try and push the wheelbarrows through this and to get all the jobs done at the sanctuary. There seems to be so much more flash flooding than we've experienced before, where it will begin to rain and it's action stations up to the animals we go to make sure that they're all well, that they're all safe, that they're warm with their forage, and that they're all in the right places as well.
And as Anna says, with the flash flooding, you get very little notice, and then you get an absolute downpour, torrential quantities of water that then just sits on top of the hard grounds and accumulates. So suddenly you are wading through a vast quantity of water. So then it's a case of getting the broom out and sweeping the water out of the area where the animals are and into the drains. But the drains get a bit overwhelmed, so we find ourselves spending a lot of time sweeping and then clearing the drains at the same time, and then sweeping again and clearing the drains, checking the gutters. Also, we've had so many days where the winds have been really high and they've been blowing all the broken branches off of the trees, so then they go onto the roofs and into the gutters or accumulate around the drainage areas. So it's again a constant task of checking gutters, checking drains, checking where the water can go, it can actually escape. So it does keep us busy, and these new, what seem to be new anyway, more extreme weather situations are making us have to think quickly and come up with new ideas of how to deal with it effectively.
On top of all our daily jobs at the sanctuary that we already have to do.
Yep.
And just like magic, the next day it will be warm and sunny and bright and 24 degrees, which has been very, very mild this autumn, and such a huge contrast to the storms the day before, and such a dramatic shift so quickly. The miniature horses have had to have been clipped already because they've been too hot and sweaty in their winter coats growing through. We want to say a huge thank you to everyone who's contributed to our Just Giving page, and for those who have watched our Patreon special video all about Diesel's squish boots. And if you haven't, you can come and join us and watch along. He's had to have squish pads to help with his laminitis journey.
And having the squish boots meant that at last we could take Diesel out again for walks around the country lanes. And that's what we did, and he absolutely loved it, and so did we.
We always catch people's attention, don't we, Mum? Because people expect to see dog walkers.
Yep.
And instead they see me, you, and a little miniature horse that's only 34 inches small prancing along the pavements and the verges, because he gets so excited he starts to rear, doesn't he?
They do a double take, because I think at a distance they're not quite sure whether it's quite a large dog. And then as they get a little bit closer, they're, oh, wow, it's a little horse. And he does he gets very fiery, doesn't he, when he's out, very excited.
He tries to dig the ground and rear and jump because of pure excitement of being out on a new adventure.
Yeah, his favourite thing is pawing the ground. Come on, let's get going. Okay, how lovely. You're having a good time, Diesel?
We want to say hello to everyone.
Yes, thank you for my squish boots.
Thank you to everyone who's contributed to my squish boots.
Yes.
Diesel says. I'm now out on a walk and loving life.
That's it.
And he's very spooky because he finds everything very exciting. He's having a good look around.
Lovely.
And showing how happy and joyful he is by pawing the ground.
That's it. Fantastic.
When he's loving life, that's what he does.
Good boy. Lovely.
Yay!
I
It's so
feel-
lovely to see his quality of life is back and he's able to get out and about and see the world, which is, yeah, a big relief, for sure.
Let's do some walking then.
Yeah, off we go. Come on then.
There he goes.
There's a hare running over there.
Wow.
There's a hare.
Good boy.
Oh look, there's people watching us over there.
Oh yes. These little walks are so good for Diesel's mental health. He's seeing and experiencing new things all around him, new scenery, all the little things that horses are very perceptive at noticing, tiny little things that we would actually miss on a walk. They will pick up, and with their hearing, extrasensory hearing, he's getting stimulation all the way. So what might look like a very peaceful, not a lot happening rural scene, for Diesel will be an overwhelming amount of information coming at him from all different angles. He's a very bright little horse, so this is so good for him. He will have been exhausted by this experience and really excited and stimulated by the whole thing. As you can see from some of his reactions, he's really excited by it. And again, to us it might look like just a very quiet, peaceful, beautiful field, but he'll be seeing many things that we can't see and hearing so many sounds that we're not picking up on. And that is important because that's what horses would experience in the natural environment, in their native way of being. That's what they would expect to experience every day. So it's really good for them to have that.
We all walk our dogs, don't we? So why wouldn't we walk our horses for their pure enjoyment, stimulation, relaxation, and it's great exercise, not only for us, but for them, muscle building as they walk up and down hills, along the roadside. We also take them off-road as much as possible, out into the countryside, down countryside tracks, building muscle and gaining fitness, which is what horses are supposed to do.
Exactly, and again, we would not be able to do this with Diesel, and we haven't been able to do it for a while because of his sensitivity with the laminitis in his hooves. So to have these squish pads has meant that it's opened up the world for him, which is fantastic.
He's now back out and about on the road again, as
That's
they
it.
say.
Clopping along.
With his fancy boots.
That's it.
Totally sound, out of pain, and rehabbing. When the horses aren't out walking with us or being lunged for rehabilitation and stimulation, they do love a snooze and to relax in the corner of the fields. But it's really interesting to see who they want to go and sleep next to, share their space with, and which animal friends they pick to take a snooze with. And here Winnie has chosen our oldest sheep, or currently our oldest sheep, Cardigan, to take a little snooze by the wall in the warm sunshine where it's a bit more protected and sheltered. It's a crinkle-crankle wall, so they can sort of get inside the grooves of the wall, which feels a bit more sheltered, and they are out of the human eyes and out of the way of the busy estate, so they can get a bit more peace and quiet behind the wall. And it was just so sweet to see these two very different friends taking shelter together and enjoying the moment. And the pattern of this autumn has been from sunshine to then weather warning conditions. We had such high winds come in that we had a tree crash through our boundary fence, taking out our electrical fencing and crashing into the field like a great big monster that spooked the animals. And you could see the gallop tread marks, track marks from the horses that managed to get out of the way in time. And the sheep were spooked for days watching from a distance. But we had to jump into immediate action so that none of the animals broke free.
It was late afternoon when we found the tree down, so we had to spring into immediate action. We also had to chase the light because, as everyone knows now, we begin to lose the light really quite early in the day. So what we did was fence off the actual exit point where the sheep could have got out.
And we laughed because it was a little bridge across
I
a
mean,
river.
it's like the bridge to Terabithia, and you can't imagine that the sheep would really want to climb on the trunk and tiptoe across, but you just never know if you get one that's feeling particularly adventurous. And our imaginations run riot. So,
and we have Herdwicks, who are great escape
Yeah,
artists and
that's
very
true.
nimble and agile like goats.
Exactly. So you don't want to assume that they're not going to try it. So we fenced off the area where they could get out. And then when we examined what tree it actually was, we found that it was a maple sycamore, which the leaves of which are actually poisonous to sheep and horses. So then we had to pick up every single bit of leaf that had dropped around the tree and remove it from the field so that there was no chance of them eating any of it.
Which took hours, didn't it, Mum?
It did.
It took ages. So this tree is usually further back in the woodland, but where it had broken, fallen and smashed into the field, it brought with it all its branches of many leaves, of which usually they would stay safe outside of our boundary fence. So we don't normally have to fence off this area or sweep up this area like we do with other trees, such as an oak tree with acorns. We fence off so that the animals can't eat the toxic acorns. So this was a real painstaking job that took a while, but eventually we got there.
Yeah, and it was bad luck that the tree fell the way it did into our field. If it had fallen back the other way, it would have been absolutely fine. Wouldn't have interfered with anybody because it would have just gone back into the woodland. But bad luck had it that it came into our field. But on the other hand, it was very fortunate that it didn't hurt any of the animals.
Bad luck had it seems to be our motto at the moment, Mum, doesn't it?
Yeah, if the dice can go anyway, it always goes against us at the moment. But
And as one tree was removed, chopped and tractored away, then came Storm Amy.
oh, yeah, here we go again, we thought.
Bringing down another tree, this time a horse chestnut tree, which is also highly poisonous and toxic to sheep and horses, just like the maple sycamore. So initially, as we do with every fallen tree, we rush over to study what's happened, the damage to the boundary fence, if there are any exit points for the sheep and the horses. And of course, they're all very agile, nimble animals, and horses and sheep can jump quite high. So we have to check that they can't get out. And if they can, we bring along our big bucket of fencing equipment and make sure we fence off those gaps and exit points. It's so difficult to show the scale on camera, but this fallen tree was about 3 times the size of the last maple. This horse chestnut was enormous, and it was the conkers that immediately told us that this was horse chestnut, poisonous and toxic. We're looking for those key telltale factors, and it was in that moment we knew the whole tree would have to be fenced off. Weirdly, it's a mast year for horse chestnut trees and oak trees, which means they produce a bumper crop of acorns and conkers to enable the species of the tree to continue successfully growing and expanding their numbers. So this year, a great crop of conkers have come crashing into our field because of this fallen tree, and behind it the oak tree with acorns, double the amount we usually have scattered across the floor, which we usually fence off. So we thought we'd take this occasion to just fence off the entire corner of the field to make sure that no nosy sheep or curious horses would take a crunch at a nice chompy conker. And you might ask, but will they really eat them if they're poisonous? And the answer is yes, they will. But of course, every animal is different, just like we are. So some will be curious and just want a little taste and a bite, which is fine. And others will want to feast and binge and gorge on the tasty acorns and conkers, which will kill them within hours. Often before vets can even see them, they will be dead. It's quite dramatic and it's a terrible death. So you have to be highly vigilant and work very quickly to fence off the area before any horse or sheep has a chance to overindulge.
Yeah, and we have to just assume the worst, that they have the potential to gorge, because of course we don't know which ones of them might decide it is fantastic flavour and eat the lot and then get ill, the chances are they might all just take a little nibble of the odd one and be absolutely fine, but we just can't risk it. The other thing you might be wondering about is why we don't just get someone in to chop up the fallen tree and remove it. And that the reason for that is we don't own these fields, we are only renting them. So we alert the owners straight away to fallen trees, but we have to wait until they are able to come out or send someone out to chop up what's left and remove it from the field. And we don't know how long before they'll be able to do this. So for the sake of making sure that our animals are safe, we fence it all off, and we just have to leave the fence in place until they're able to remove the fallen tree.
As with anything new in the field, the boys like to take a look, get a bit closer, investigate, but they find fallen trees so spooky, as you would expect, with the unimaginable sound of the crashing that they must experience when that tree comes down. So they come to us for reassurance and strokes and keep close to us whilst we deal with the aftermath of the tree. And Storm Amy also brought down lots of bracken and big branches, heavy smaller parts of the trees around the boundary fence. And it also brought down some of the fence posts that had gone rotten in our main boundary fence. So we jumped into quick action and replaced the fence posts, added in some new sturdy fence posts that we bashed in before any horses or sheep could go high jumping over the boundary. This was our finished work.
And there, sitting on the fence post, was a beautiful red admiral butterfly drying its wings after the storm in the sunshine.
The butterfly was a beautiful sigh of relief, really, to see them spreading out their wings and relaxing in the sun, which is exactly how we felt and what we wanted to do after we'd done all of our fencing. The tree was fenced off, the animals couldn't eat poison conkers or too many acorns, they couldn't get toxic shock. We'd popped all the fencing back up and bashed in the fence posts so that no animals could escape, and then we breathed that sense, that sigh of relief that our work is done and time for a cup of tea. And autumn means one thing in our Etsy shop, that our Christmas online store opens once again. And we're so excited to share with you that our Etsy shop is back open now after 3.5 months of being closed. And you can find unique gifts and decorations for autumn birthday presents or Christmas gift giving if you want to start your shopping now, or if you want to buy some unforgettable standout decorations for your home. We would be so grateful if you want to shop with us this autumn. Every felted gift and decoration that you spot in our shop has been hand sculpted by Ruth, by Mum, using the fleece from our rescue flock that is gently sheared from each sheep. And it takes hours for Mum to craft these unique sheep that are characterful with their own personalities. Everyone has its own facial expression, so no two are ever the same. Every sheep will be different. And this year, Mum has made and spent hours making each sheep ahead of the shop opening. So what you will find in the shop is ready to go, ready to be dispatched and gifted. The costumes that you spot are also all hand stitched by Mum, by Ruth, who has made these using artisan, rare, recycled and vintage materials. They are all one-off, they are all different, and they are all crowns and headdresses and tiaras that have never been seen before in our shop, using all individually sourced materials that Mum has spotted on her journeys around different places in our local area. We're also really pleased to say that we are still shipping to America. We gift wrap every single order for no extra charge so that it's ready to be given to a loved one. And every sale helps our sanctuary. So we'd be so thankful and grateful for any support this autumn and winter in our Christmas shop if you can. Thank you ever so much. We'll pop the link to our Etsy shop in the YouTube description below. Thanks so much. We'll also pop the Patreon link in the description below as well if you'd like to join our amazing community for animal lovers for just £1 a month or more to support our animal sanctuary. We would be so very grateful if you want to join us and help support and secure the future of our animal sanctuary. And we'll also pop our Just Giving link as well if you'd like to take a look in the description below. A huge thank you to our amazing patrons and to those who've supported our Just Giving page. We could not do this without you.
Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, please give us a like.
We've got the giggles now. Please subscribe if you enjoy watching to help our little channel to grow.
I'm so sorry for laughing. I get the giggles and then that's it. I can't pull it together again.
We'll be back with a new video very soon. Please share and spread the word if you enjoy watching our little channel, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Thank you so much.